and I'm super pumped. I'm so excited to start going. Really interesting to see the building like this. What we've discussed with our structural engineers is so now I want to go through how we intend to boost the value from 3 million valuation to 9.3 million valuation. It's the bit that you guys have all been waiting for, so let's go. Hi guys, welcome to the video, and today we are filming at our Islington site again, and in this video I'm gonna explain how we intend to boost the value of this site, this property, from a 3 million valuation to 9.3 million valuation. So let's go. Before we jump straight into the whole strategy of how we're gonna boost the value of this site, I just wanted to give you an update on where things are with the construction and what work we've done on the site so far. Since we last filmed on site, we've been super busy. As you can see, we've done a massive strip out and I'm super pumped. I'm so excited to start going. It's been a massive wait until this stage, so finally, yes. We've been setting up all of our welfare, getting ready for when construction commences. We've got all the we've got the toilets in that section, we've got the site office over there, and then we've got the canteen area on that side. So everything is ready, we're good to go. Yeah, I just can't wait. I cannot wait to get going on this site properly. Since we last filmed on site, you'll notice that it's had a big strip out operation, meaning we've taken off all the layers and taken the building back to its bare bones. So now you can see these exposed gigantic steel columns. You can also see the steel beams and the structures. This is exactly what we wanted, so we can fully understand and identify what's going on with the existing structure, because as I mentioned in the last video, we intend to keep as much of the steel frame as possible to lower our build costs and keep them down as much as possible. So again, we're now on the first floor, fully stripped out. You get a real sense of, what's going on now. Really interesting to see the building like this. A couple of weeks ago, we also had our structural engineers over here. We ran through the structural design. Luckily, we're able to keep, I would say, 80% of the steel structure. Some of the steels will need to be modified or taken down or replaced in order for our new design of our permitted development flats to work in this area. And actually, we've had to revise the designs and adapt it so that it does actually work with this existing structural layout. There's still things that we need to do. The lift shaft, it needs to come down. Not sure if we can look inside it, but ooh, yes, we can. We can take a look inside. So this is the existing lift shaft. So that still needs to come down. At the moment, we're only focusing on the front section of the building. This is where our conversion from commercial to residential is happening on the first, second, and third floors. This now is we're now at a position where we can really bring on steel fabricators and subcontractors work on the steel frame here now. So one major modifications we need to make is to get rid of this particular steel column. And as you can see, it's a vital junction supporting the floor above. This is basically slap bang in the middle of our new hallway, like our new staircase and hallway. What we've discussed with our structural engineers is to position a new structural column, steel column, along here somewhere, which will be in line with the new party wall of the hallway and the apartment. It's gonna, once this new column's in position, then this old one can be taken down, and all these various ties then need to be linked back into this, into the new column. So this is gonna be quite a major operation. This column continues onto the first floor as well. It's gonna involve temporary works, temporary supports, all the way back down to the basement, all the way to the top. But once that column's gone, that's gonna be a big result for us. It's going to open up that space and allow us to have our staircase and hallway there. From the discussions with our structural engineers, we're also able to take out the two end columns, which we desperately need to do because that's, again, slap bang in the middle of one of the apartments. Equally, on that side, those two columns at the end will also come out. because the two end apartments are symmetrical in their design. So interestingly, when we started to peel back the layers, we noticed on the first floor, there's this structural concrete beam which runs all the way along and wraps around on the other side. And as you can see, there's block work here. So yeah, this whole facade wall was rebuilt at some stage in the past. So yeah, it's just good to know. And we've had it checked out and vetted by our structural engineers, and they seem happy with us retaining the status quo here, so that's good. And now we're on the second floor. When we filmed here on our last video, I think I was filming in that area over there, which was subdivided office space. Now, as you can see, it's all been stripped out. All the stud work has been removed, and we've taken it back down to the bare bones of the building and exposed all the structural steel work. Interestingly, I don't know why the builders have left this up here. It is, if you look closely, it is a puzzle, and it's been framed. I think the previous owners just left it here as a bit of a memento for us, but it's pretty impressive. And upstairs has also been stripped out. That is the roof space. Currently, we also have permission for one permitted development flat up there at the moment. But as you remember, our intention is to try and obtain planning permission for a mansard extension to open up the space and allow for a larger flat with amenity space. So fingers crossed on that. So now I want to go through the strategy of how we intend to boost the value of this property from 3 million valuation to a 9.3 million valuation. It's the bit that you guys have all been waiting for, so let's go. I don't know if you remember, on the last video I explained that this is a very strategic process. It's a step-by-step approach to creep up the value to the circa 9.25, I think is what I mentioned last time, but I think it's actually going to be even above that. So we're looking at around 9.3, 9.35, that kind of thing. It's a very strategic process on this one. So we've already got the permitted development approval. The prior approval application that we submitted has been approved, and that came through just before we actually completed on the purchase of the site. So that was a prior approval application for the conversion of the first, second and third floor of this main portion of the building from commercial to residential, and that got us 7 flats. This is the general layout on the first and second floor, both a repeat, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that's six apartments, and then on the roof space you get this very awkward 7th permitted development flat, and that used the existing skylights that are already there. That scheme so far gets us to a GDV valuation of 4.4 million. That's with the commercial unit at a blended rate of £37.50 a square foot. That was using just the ground floor space in the original part of the building and the basement level. Because at this stage, we didn't really know what we were going to do with the rear section where the garage is at the moment. As you can see, the rear section is this garage space at the back. So what I'm referring to is just this front portion of the building where there was a basement. This version here with the mansard now, that increases the value yet again. So now this particular scheme, so remember we've got 3 permitted development flats here, 3 permitted development flats here. Now this permitted development flat then opens up into a much nicer, larger new build flat with amenity space. So then that obviously reflects on the overall GDV. That's the mansard one. That increases the GDV by up to 4.8, so almost another 400,000. The value of that flat increases to around 850,000. It would be a 3-bedroom flat, maybe a large 2 double-bedroom flat with amenity. That also has a massive increase in rental as well. So then that gets us to from 295, which was the previous combined rental, to a figure of 310, almost 310,000 annual figure. But that still is not good enough for us. That scheme combined with a rear element now, and now we're talking about a new build element to the rear, is what we were looking at not too long ago. That rear new build element would have been here. So it's in the location, as I mentioned before, in this rear location here. It's a perfect infill plot of land, infill development, and that we designed. This is a very crude, quick sort of model that we created. You can see that we had 4 stories, ground, first, second, third, of residential to the rear. The idea was that this would be designed as a separate entity, a separate building with its own stair and lift shaft. Remove all elements of commercial in that rear section and start off on the ground floor with a residential apartment, and then 2 on the first, 2 on the second, and a third one on the top level, if we could get that top level on the rear new build element. Again, so that's the scheme that I was just talking about. So again, the 6 permitted development flats, the new mansard level, which gives us a larger unit, and then this whole rear new build section, which gives us an apartment on the ground floor, 2 apartments on the first floor, second floor 2 apartments, and then 1 slightly larger apartment on the third floor there. So that was an option where we had 6 new build apartments, and in terms of the numbers, that scheme looked like this. Here again, we have the 6 permitted development flats. This 7th one, that turns into a larger mansard unit valued at 850, as I mentioned before, and then that gives us a higher rental as well. And then combine that with a new build block, which then gives us a total GDV valuation here of 8.16. So getting very closer to that 9.3. That then gave us a rental number of circa $500,000 there. So great rental, the rental's creeping up as well. The gross yield is also increasing as well. We weren't satisfied with that, so we're gonna go 1 step further. The option there that you just saw was what we were thinking was that we would design and create a new build, complete separate new build development to the rear that we could maybe sell off on its own in the future if we wanted to. However, what we started to realize was that the commercial unit had value to it, and we were just looking at this whole thing the wrong way round. So what we started to do is reach out to high street supermarket chains and try and understand what their requirements were for commercial space. We're talking about like the smaller supermarket sizes such as Sainsbury's Locals, Tesco Metros, and the smaller co-op supermarket stores. What they require is approximately 3,000 square foot of retail space, followed by another 1,000 square foot of back of house, office, storage, that kind of thing. So what we then did was we then looked at this as a complete unit, incorporating the rear element, so the whole ground floor gets opened up all the way to the rear, also includes this basement. In this previous scheme, the basement lost value because of the size of that commercial unit on the ground and basement. It didn't give a very high blended price, pounds per square foot rate. Whereas when you incorporate this whole element, the supermarket chains were using this lower ground level as back of house. So that's their office, storage, some of the other plant machinery, that kind of thing. So this then gives us a much higher pounds per square foot value. What we've now done is we've now opened this entire element up, and then we've actually got a combined residential access of the 2 sides. The previous scheme had 2 separate cores, one for the new build and one for the original part of the building. what we've done now is combine the cores so that the staircase in the original section is used to access not only the permitted development flats, but also the new build flats. And we have now created, we're proposing a new lift shaft which serves both sides. By doing that, we've now maximized the full potential of the site in terms of square footage back to the actual residential spaces rather than just lost space for access and stairwells and such. What we're now looking at with the high valuations that we get with the commercial, like having one of the high street supermarket chains, what that means is that once they sign up on a 20-year lease with a 15-year break, or even a 15-year lease with a 10-year break, that instantly increases the value of this unit, which increases the value of the overall scheme. So looking at the numbers now, this is our goal. This is what we want to try and achieve. Now, if you look at what we've done now, you have the commercial unit substantially increases in value, giving us hopefully a high rental figure there. We have the 6 permitted development units. We have the mansard, which is a larger unit. We have then the 5 new build apartments to the rear, giving us a whole total GDV valuation, actually almost 9.4. We're not sure if we're going to get that. We're still working towards that, but you can also see that we are now getting a rental figure of almost 600,000. And that's now increased our gross yield almost up to 10%. That's what we're working towards. That's the goal. Not sure if we're going to get that, but as you can see here, this is kind of what it will look like. These are still very early stage sort of computer generated mock-ups. We've got the original portion, we've got a mansard extension, we've got the rear element which will incorporate a combined commercial space on the ground floor. This is going to be an access for refuse. This is louvers for their plant room, for the new commercial plant room. This is the residential access, which will be the access for both sides here now. Yeah, as you can see, we've got balconies here for the new build element because they have to be done to new build standards, whereas these were permitted development flats, so no amenity required here. But these apartments here will have amenities and there will be much larger apartments. So there you have it. That's the breakdown. That's the strategy. That's how we are hoping, fingers crossed, to get to a GDV valuation of 9.3, 9.4 maybe. Let's see how it all pans out, but it's still a long way to go. I hope you understood everything I was saying and hope you kind of followed me along there. Strategic process here, so step-by-step approach. And currently at the moment we are at the stage of, we're hoping to get some feedback for our mansard pre-app, which we submitted a few weeks back. We had a meeting with the planner on site and we discussed the proposal. In general, they seem kind of happy with it, so let's see what that feedback looks like when we receive that. And then the next step is to submit an application for the overall pre-app of the whole scheme. So yeah, for now, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video and see you at the next one. On next week's episode, I give you a tour of our new site in North London where we will be building 23 new build apartments. So the site area is approximately 12,000 square foot. Horse chestnut tree to the southeast of the site. I knew that was coming. All right, next to, wait for it. And it's been really frustrating at times. It almost soul destroying. First big proper joint venture scheme. But fear not,